Have you ever found yourself actually scanning your partner's mood, constantly asking them questions like, are we okay? Is everything between us going fine? Or do you still love me? Maybe even if you directly do not ask your partner these questions, you're still wondering about these questions in the back of your mind. And this is your hypervigilance constantly scanning to see if the relationship feels safe or not. You might be actually scanning their tone, you might see how they're replying, you might see their facial expressions, you might constantly be hypervigilant around them, actually trying to guess if this partner of yours, if they're still invested in the relationship or not. And this can happen during moments of conflicts, and this can also happen when things are going smoothly as well. This has a lot to do with your attachment style. If you're someone who is hypervigilant, the chances are pretty high that you might have slight anxious or disorganized attachment tendencies. And then what happens is your entire emotional state actually starts depending on how your partner or the person you are dating is showing up in the connection as well. If they are happy, you feel happy. If they are sad, you feel sad. Your self worth is given across into the hands of this person who you are in a relationship or connection with. And today I want to talk about why is it that you're constantly seeking your partner's validation and how it's actually destroying your confidence as well as the peace in the relationship itself. You might be scanning these things to make sure the relationship is running smoothly, but these things are the very thing that actually destroys the peace in the relationship. So, if you're new here, I'm Vaishnavi and I'm a men's coach and I help men heal with their traumas, attachment issues, and wounded masculinity in order for them to pursue a meaningful connection, first with themselves and then also a woman as well. Now, if you want to get coached by me and work with me to heal your traumas, your relationship issues, you can fill out the form in the description box below. I'm going to go through your application and reach out to you to actually build a customized plan for you to get your healing journey started. And apart from that, if you want to take my self paced courses to actually work on your masculine energy or get rid of your nice guy patterns, you can find the link to that as well in the description box below. So, without any further ado, let's get into the video and let's talk about how do you actually stop seeking your partner's validation and how do you start validating yourself even when you are in a relationship so that harmony and peace is maintained in a relationship and you are able to develop a healthy, secure relationship with your partner. And the first thing I want to talk about is this need of yours where you're constantly seeking reassurance from your partner actually has nothing to do with them, but it has a lot to do with you. This habit of yours where you're constantly seeking your partner to make you feel good about yourself, where you're regulating your emotions through your partner's emotions, actually has nothing to do with how they are showing up in the relationship. But it has a lot to do with what is unresolved and unhealed inside your nervous system. And when your nervous system does not feel safe in the connection, you start outsourcing your safety to your partner. Your source of happiness depends on your partner's confidence, their mood, if they are into you, if they are showing you affection, or if they are even happy in the relationship. Eventually, what happens is your entire mood is based and dependent on what your partner actually feels in the connection. And without even realizing it, you hand the responsibility of your emotional regulation in the hands of your partner. And to be honest, that's a lot of load to actually put on someone else. Everyone is coming into the relationship with their own baggage, their own nervous system feeling unsafe. And when you start outsourcing your safety and when you want to feel good enough only through your partner, that is a lot of load and pressure to be put on your partner and the relationship itself. Eventually, what happens is you start scanning for signs as to why the relationship is not working out. And then, even a delayed text actually feels like rejection. And if your partner says something like they're busy, you might actually conclude that they're losing interest from the relationship. Even if the partner is asking for space, you might also feel threatened, thinking that, okay, the relationship is kind of doomed. But the most important thing you need to start understanding is that it's not your partner's responsibility to manage your emotions. Both individuals in the relationship are responsible for managing their own emotions first and then creating harmony and peace in the relationship. The next thing I want to talk about is the cycle of validation addiction. Validation does help a lot. Every time your partner is reassuring you, it is basically like a temporary relief. Think of sugar addiction. The moment you eat sugar, you feel good, but eventually you start craving it. So the problem is you haven't eliminated the addiction at its root. Why are you constantly seeking your partner's validation? What is within you that constantly wants to gain the reassurance from your partner as well? Because as long as you do not eliminate that root, you're constantly going to be stuck in the cycle of validation addiction, where you will constantly seek reassurance from someone, and when you do not get reassurance, your mental stability starts collapsing. So you're constantly seeking for words from your partners saying that I love you, we are okay, there is nothing wrong with us. You seek reassurance, they'll give you reassurance. And once the high of the reassurance runs away, you're going to keep asking again and again and again. And this becomes really strenuous on the relationship as well, because you're also not showing up as an individual who is secure within the relationship. And reassurance never lasts because reassurance cannot heal your insecurity. Yes, eventually reassurance does play a part in creating emotional safety, but your entire emotional safety in the relationship cannot come from your partner's reassurance. Third, I want to talk about what does this habit of yours actually does to your partner. Truth be told, most people who love you, they do want to reassure you. So they will start reassuring you in the beginning. But eventually, it feels like emotional pressure building on because no matter how much reassurance is given, you still do not feel okay and you still do not feel safe in the relationship. And over time, it becomes impossible because no amount of reassurance actually is able to make you feel better. So, eventually, what happens is they start feeling the burden of managing your emotions. Your emotional stability is falling onto their hands, and it becomes their responsibility to take care and manage your emotions. Everyone has their own emotions to manage as well. And in this process, if one person has to start handling two people's emotions, that is too much pressure on them. And eventually, instead of having peace in the relationship, they also start walking on eggshells where they understand that no matter what they do, if they make one mistake, if there is one delay, or if there is anything going wrong even once, you are going to take that up against them and you are going to use it as proof of evidence as to why the relationship is not going to last. And then what happens is love starts feeling like emotional pressure instead of emotional freedom. And the irony is that the more validation and reassurance you actually seek from your partner, the harder it becomes for them to give it over a period of time. And I also had this one client who came to me with this exact same problem where he was in a committed relationship for almost 2 years. And eventually, he had started developing the pattern in the relationship where his emotional stability was dependent on his girlfriend's emotional stability. Everyone in this day and age, they're working, they have a career, and they are busy as well. Yes, busyness is not an excuse to not make time for your partner. But imagine making time for someone, but you constantly still seeking their validation. You're constantly still seeking them to reassure you every single time. She was someone who used to reassure him in the beginning, but eventually she started resenting him for the very same thing because she was not having space to actually work on her stuff, work on her career. And every single person wants peace in a relationship, and most of her time was also being invested in making sure that he is feeling emotionally safe and secure in the relationship. And when I worked with him, we actually found out this lack of emotional safety within him actually stems from his past failed relationships where he's been taken advantage of. But you cannot be punishing the person you are in a relationship with for the mistakes someone else did in your past. It's your responsibility to heal yourself from your past wounds, from your past trauma, so that you do not project that onto your partner. And when we actually work together to regulate his nervous system and actually rewire his subconscious belief systems about love and relationship, eventually he started feeling safe within himself. And when he felt safe within himself, he was able to show up as a more secure masculine man in the relationship. And she, in this case, went from actually fulfilling the role of his mother in the relationship to being a woman, to being feminine, because he started stepping up in the connection. And this is the change that actually builds attraction in the relationship as well. Now, let's talk about what secure love actually looks like. In a secure, healthy relationship, partners do validate each other. You do give reassurance, not because you are asked, but also because you do want to give reassurance to your partner. You want to ensure that they are actually feeling happy, they are feeling safe, and they are thriving in the relationship and also their personal life as well. And you still hear words like, I love you, you matter, I want to be with you. But the difference is, people in secure relationship, they do not need to hear that specifically to feel good about themselves. Their mood is not dependent on purely the state of the relationship. They have their own individual sense of being, and they also have the identity of themselves as part of being in the relationship too. Now imagine two people existing. Person A is saying, I hope everything is okay in my relationship and I hope my partner still loves me today. The second person is saying, no matter what happens, no matter what emotions are experienced today, I know who I am and I am secure within myself. Out of person A and person B, who do you think is actually going to experience more happiness? And who do you actually think is going to show up in the relationship as a better partner as well? So, this is what I want you to understand. Secure relationships are not built by actually two people just constantly giving reassurance and validation to each other. Secure relationships are built when two people take it upon themselves to actually build and bring about emotional stability in the relationship. And you need to actually build your own emotional home. Have an identity outside the relationship as well. Who are you apart from being boyfriend to someone or being husband to someone else as well? How can you actually take care of your own happiness, your own peace? What can you do to actually take care of your mental stability outside of the relationship? Can you do physical activities, workouts? Can you do meditation? Can you take out time for journaling and actually also exploring who you are as a person? And whenever you find yourself in moments where you're triggered, instead of just going and finding a temporary fix or solution from your partner by asking their reassurance, actually sit and question, why are you feeling anxious? What are you believing about yourself in that moment? What story is coming up in your mind? Does this actually have anything to do with the past or does it have anything to do with the present as well? Take a walk, journal, breathe, and remind yourself your worth is not dependent on someone else's emotions, because you need this emotional stability within you to actually show up as a secure partner in the relationship. And one of the biggest shifts you need to be making in your relationship is going from the mindset of actually thinking that, can I purely just depend on my partner to make me feel safe about myself? Or can I actually become secure internally so that I become a man who can love freely and give my 100% in the relationship? And if you are a person who actually is experiencing these exact same problems, you won't be able to change your behavior of seeking validation just by willpower, because these patterns are deep ingrained in your subconscious. It lives in your body because the unprocessed emotional charge, the unprocessed trauma, all of that lives in your body and your subconscious. So when you're triggered, you're not going to be able to use your logical mind to actually fix the problem, because your logical mind does not work when you're triggered. Your emotional brain comes in online. And as long as you are not rewiring your subconscious belief system, and as long as you do not know how to regulate your nervous system, you're constantly going to be stuck in this loop of seeking validation. And this is exactly the work I do with my clients as well, where we actually go back into their past childhood, see what's going on in their life, where did they pick up these patterns, heal the past relationships, and also heal any childhood traumas if they are actually present, and work on rewiring it. And if you want to work with me and get coached by me, you can also fill out the form in the description box below, and I'm going to go through your application to design a customized program just for you. So, I hope this episode was helpful, and I will see you guys in the next one.